Today we're going to take a look at the all-new Zhiyun Crane 2S, and hopefully I'm going to give you guys enough information to help you to determine whether or not this is the gimbal for you. So let's check it out. I'm not one for unboxings, but let's quickly go over what comes in the standard kit, which retails for $5.99. Of course, you get the Crane 2S, the new flex mount plate, which we will cover in just a minute, a quick release base plate, which is Manfrotto compatible, so if you have a Manfrotto style tripod, that's an awesome feature to have, 3 lithium ion batteries, a triple battery charger, mini tripod, and a support base, which basically helps lift the camera off the base when using larger lenses that need more clearance and things like that. That's awesome that Zhiyun includes that in this kit. A lens support, a USB Type-C charging cable, 2 Canon camera control cables, a Panasonic cable, a Sony cable, 3/4 20-inch screws, several different Allen keys, and of course the storage case. The case is made out of foam, which seems to be the popular thing these days. I think they do look cool. It's what my Ronin S came with, but I did eventually swap it out for a Pelican style case just for better protection. You know, these gimbals do cost quite a bit of money, so I want to make sure that it's taken care of. The Crane 2S is Zhiyun's attempt at improving the very popular Crane 2, and in their current lineup sits between the larger Crane 3S and the smaller Weebill S. The Crane 2S is geared towards creators with larger mirrorless cameras like the Pocket 6K and the Panasonic S1H that need a little bit more power than the Weebill S but don't want to go as big as the Crane 3S. As for build quality, the Crane 2S is made almost entirely out of metal except for the tripod and the buttons, which are made out of plastic, and of course the new carbon fiber handle, which does feel very nice. I do wish that the buttons and the joystick were a little bit better quality, but overall the build quality does feel very premium, and I definitely feel as though the gimbal will hold up over time. I really like the fact that the tripod has a rubber gasket on it. It just helps keep the tripod tight while you're using it. I think most creators are going to be using it, you know, while holding the tripod, and with other gimbals it just comes loose all the time, and that can be a very huge irritant. So that is something I really like. Some of the biggest improvements over the Crane 2 is of course their new 2-stage locking system. The new locking system is awesome. It definitely helps when balancing the gimbal because now you can lock each axis that you're not balancing. This greatly speeds up the balancing process, and in my opinion just helps to give you overall a better balance and just makes things a whole lot easier. It also helps when traveling because it makes it easier to carry the gimbal either in or, in my case, outside of a bag, and you don't have things flopping around all over the place. The Crane 2S has a higher load capacity than the Crane 2, although it's not published by Zhiyun. I have seen people balance some pretty large cameras on it though. It's got a larger 1-inch screen to help navigate the menu, which we will cover in just a minute. Again, that new carbon fiber handle, that feels great. Updated algorithms for better stability, and the ability to have both focus and zoom motors. Now this is a really cool feature because Zhiyun also offers their trans-mount image system that allows a remote operator to control focus, zoom, and essentially control the entire gimbal, all while monitoring what the camera sees, which is great for larger productions because now you can split those processes up and overall get a much better image. The new flex mount system is a huge upgrade. What the flex mount essentially does is simplify the setup process by a lot. On the bottom of the flex mount, it has 1/4 20-inch threads so you can mount your tripod plate to it. Then when you want to transition from gimbal to tripod, all you have to do is release the flex mount and you're good to go. You can go stick your camera on the tripod, nothing more needed. Then to put the camera back on the gimbal, just simply slide the flex mount back into the gimbal, and that's it. No need to rebalance or anything like that. That's just a huge time saver if you're in the middle of a gig or something like that. It's got a new vertical mount on the tilt arm here for being able to mount your camera vertically for things like Instagram and TikTok, which I think is really cool because I just started an Instagram account, so I will definitely be using that. It's got these rosette mounts on the side for things like monitors or a cell phone mount. And it's also got this removable piece on the back pan arm. A lot of people were very surprised by the fact that the motor still blocks the screen on most cameras, unlike many gimbals today, including some of Zhiyun's own that have that motor angled down so you can see the screen. But Zhiyun does give the option to reposition that rear motor by removing that section of the pan arm for those that just need it angled. So you have the option to do either or. It's got a new trigger system on the back that can be programmed to different things, but does come by default set to the follow mode. It also has where you double tap to reposition the camera and triple tap to go into selfie mode, although I have found that that does lag a little bit. Now let me show you the menu system and then we'll cover the different modes that the gimbal has. To go to the menu, you hit this bottom part of the scroll wheel here to enter the menu system. You have your motor adjustments, which you can auto tune the motors. You can set custom levels, or you can set the level of the strength of the motors. Then once you go out of there, then you can set up which camera you have. Of course, I'm using a Panasonic, so that's where mine's at. And then you can go into advanced settings where you can set your speed, smoothing, deadband, and if you don't like any of the settings that you did there, you can go back into the default settings. You can set your focus controls. You can set the focus wheel priority, so if you're focusing or if somebody else is focusing, then you can set which one has priority, and then also you can reverse the wheel if you don't like it going in one direction, you can make it go the other direction. Then you can set the trigger here in the back to do what you want. So again, there's different things that you can make it do. And then you can go into the joystick and you can reverse it in case you like the joystick to go the opposite direction. You can calibrate the whole gimbal. You can set the angle for the pitch and roll. And then there's a menu, I have no clue what that says. And then you can go into the about and see what version of firmware that you have, and that way you can tell if there's any other firmware updates. To switch to the different modes, you have your mode button here. It starts off in pan follow. If you hit the button one more time, it goes to lock. If you hit it twice, then it goes to POV mode. Twice again, we'll put it in vertical mode. 3 times puts it in go mode. And then if you hold the trigger here in the back, that will put it in follow mode, which again, you can adjust to do other things. But once you let that trigger go, then it goes back to the original mode that it was last in. Now let's cover the 6 different modes that the Crane 2S offers. The first mode is the pan follow mode, which basically locks the tilt and roll axis and just allows it to pan. Then you get the locking mode, which, as it says, locks all axis and keeps the camera pointed in its original position. The next mode is the following mode, which unlocks tilt and pan but locks the roll axis. Then you get the very popular POV mode, which unlocks everything and allows the camera to follow your every move. That's a very popular one and can get you some very unique shots. Then you get vortex mode, which puts the camera in a vertical position and is what people use to get that infinite roll movement, or also to do a lot of like kind of forward crane type movements. You also get go mode, which is more like a sports mode and causes the gimbal to be super responsive to your moves. This is great for action scenes or fast moving subjects where you gotta follow them around. So now I'll kind of give you my personal opinion on this gimbal and how I feel about it and just some of the things that I experienced with it. Overall, I think it's a really great gimbal. It's built very well. I like a lot of the features on it. I like that it has the locking axes. That's really convenient. And I do like the vertical mode. I like the way that they designed everything as far as, you know, being able to just quickly balance this gimbal and be able to transition to other things like tripods and stuff like that. Again, it's built very well. The only thing that I do feel that it's lacking is in the app. So the app, I'm used to DJI's app, which is phenomenal. You can do a lot of different things through the app. And I do feel that the Zhiyun Play app is a little bit limited. you can do just about everything that you do need to do, but it's just not as intuitive and does have a little bit less features. And I guess the cool thing about the Crane 2S is you don't necessarily need to use the app like you would need to use on the Ronin S, because you can do everything straight from here, so that definitely makes things convenient. I like that I can control my camera, which is the Panasonic S1, through the gimbal. I can control my ISO, my aperture, my shutter speed, all of that. Although it is a little bit limited on some other cameras and some lenses, but still, to be able to have a feature, and I'm sure over time they're gonna add other cameras and add more features to it. So I really think that the gimbal is great. The only issue that I really had with it was when I did the auto tuning. I would say the balance wasn't perfect for my camera. I would notice that sometimes the camera would start to shake a little bit, but I just went in through the menu and lowered the power level of it a little bit, and it was perfect from there. So again, that's kind of cool that you don't have to use the app. You can just go in and be able to change things. So I'm gonna be doing a review soon of the Zhiyun Crane 2S versus the DJI Ronin S, because I know a lot of people are gonna be comparing those two. So stick around for that. But other than that, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you're not. But I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.